Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees in today's session of the Secrets of Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 17. Let us start. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamabhyasyasya nakaschit kartum arhati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Purport. These verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Shvetashvatar Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. Balagrashata bhagasya shtadha kalpitasya cha. Bhago jivasya vitneyas sachanantaya kalpate. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. केशाग्रशत भागस्य शतांशः सादृशात्मकः जीवसूक्ष्मस्वरूपोऽयं संख्यातीतो हि चित्कणः. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. So, very important discussion in the beginning of spiritual life. We are told that we are not these material bodies which we perceive as our real identity. So, that's the most fundamental teaching of spirituality, where to clearly distinguish what is matter and what is spirit. So, here in this particular description, we see how Srila Prabhupada explains the existence of soul as can be perceived by the consciousness. Consciousness uh, pervades the whole body, and this consciousness is not universal. That's also an important point, as Prabhupada mentioned that uh, pains and pleasures of an individual uh, body can be experienced by the soul who owns that body. So it is not universal. So why is this point important? Because when we see that as Mayavadis or impersonalists argue that there is only one Brahma, and this Brahma is universal consciousness. So this particular idea can be easily defeated by this very fact that consciousness is not universal. It is individual consciousness. If we accept that consciousness is universal, then arguably pains and pleasures of all individual souls should be felt by others, but that is not a fact. Now, one may argue that it is due to ignorance or uh, due to our dreaming, like that we are uh, having this perception. However, the fact that we are uh, dreaming or not dreaming, the sense of identity or individuality, that experience is also unique. It is not that we feel as if we are everything, right? So generally, uh, impersonalists or Mayavadis, particularly, they reject these arguments because they call all these experiences as Maya, and because we are in Maya, so we are uh, giving such analogies to understand the distinction between one consciousness and another consciousness. However, in fact, there is only one consciousness, that is supreme consciousness, and that's everywhere. So that's the way they refute these arguments. However, even a person who claims to be liberated, even he also feels the individuality of his existence. It does not think that he is a universal consciousness. So even even to think like that, we have to uh, make so much artificial endeavor. So that is something unnatural for individual souls. If the existence of soul is so natural, or the consciousness is pervading, all pervading, or universal, then why don't we get any of such experiences? We don't get even a remote experience of that, that we are pervaded everywhere. On the contrast, we do feel that we are individuals, we have individual choices, uh, and maybe due to our individual conditionings or particular way of thinking, we have some pains and pleasures. But these pains and pleasures are unique to us, they are not universal. So that's the difference between this Mayavadi approach and the real approach, or the Vaishnava approach. So there is universal consciousness, but uh, that refers to Lord Shri Krishna, because Lord Shri Krishna is the soul of everything. Is the soul of everything. For example, this body is a place of an individual soul. So similarly, the whole universe or whole material existence is a resting place of Lord Shri Krishna. So in that sense, we can conclude that Lord Shri Krishna is super soul, or the soul of the universe. In that sense, uh, Lord Shri Krishna can be referred to as universal consciousness. However, in fact, there is nothing as universal consciousness, because to be universal, we had to be everywhere. So either personally or by expansion of our body. So that is something unavoidable. So unless we can expand ourselves or expand our consciousness universally, there is no question of universal consciousness. So here, the uh, size of the soul has been given. So that is another proof that the souls, individual souls, are limited. If we accept that there is only universal consciousness, then the Shruti mantras, which mention the size of a soul, it becomes meaningless, right? Because why would you give size of something which is universal, which is everywhere? That's another argument. So all these word jugglery by Mayavatis that uh, trying to define how the supreme consciousness or Brahman pervades everywhere, and everything is but one. There is nothing like individual identity. So that is all wrong if we accept the statements from the Shruti. And these are Shruti statements. Shveta Shadra Upanishad and what else? There's Munda Upanishad and so many such Shruti texts clearly define that souls are individuals. They are they do not share the same experiences either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state. Okay, let's go ahead. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms. So, the spiritual atom also has a size, and that size is much lesser than the material atom. And such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. So, soul or the consciousness, individual consciousness, pervades the whole body by means of experience. So, whatever is pain or pleasures felt by one organ can be felt by the other uh, organs of the body, and that is because of the individual consciousness. For example, has been given uh, of medicine, how medicine through its ingredients spreads throughout the body. Similarly, the individual consciousness uh, is spread throughout the body, and because of that consciousness, we, despite having different organs, feel the sense of unity or individuality. Okay. This current of the spirit soul is left felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. So, the difference between living body and dead body, as we call it in our practical life, is consciousness. So, uh, body without consciousness is a dead body. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. So that's also another proof that uh, the cause of our actions or reactions is not these material ingredients or just material body. If material body was the cause, or material ingredients are accepted as the cause of material body, then arguably if we combine all the necessary material ingredients, the material body should work. But that does not happen. So that's uh, another clue to understand how material body is different from the consciousness or life. So that life, what defines as a life, or how we understand life, is completely different from just a material body bereft of consciousness. So if we delete consciousness from the uh, material body, then it is simply dead body, and it cannot be uh, it cannot be brought back to life merely by any combination of material ingredients. It needs it. It demands the presence of consciousness to feel life. So that's our practical experience. In the Mundak Upanishad 319, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Esho Ranur Atma Chetasa Veditavyo Yasmin Prana Panchadha Samvivesh Pranaischittam Sarvamotam Prajanam Yasmin Vishuddhe Vibhatyesha Atma. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the five kinds of air: Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman, and Udan. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the five kinds of material air, its spiritual effulgence is exhibited. Now, this is another example how soul is individual. If soul is not individual, then where is the question of uh, the soul being uh, subordinate to five kinds of air? So these five kinds of air, their names are given here: Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman, and Udan. So these five pranas, or five life airs, or just air, they are situated in one's body, and it is said that soul is under the control or under the influence of these five airs. So that means these five airs, which are material by nature, they are in control of the soul or individual soul. Again, here we see that uh, the soul is not universal. Soul has certain limitations, and it can be limited even by something material like this air. So from this example also we can clearly say that uh, there is nothing called universal consciousness. Consciousness is individual. We are individuals, uh, and our individuality has been constrained in a particular body governed by the five airs. So these five airs uh, are prana, apan, vyan, saman, udar. So these five airs control the body functions, and soul has been put under the control of these five airs. And when one purifies one's existence, or get rid of these five kinds of airs, then actually he exhibits his own spiritual existence or his own spiritual power. So what we call is liberation and bondage. Uh, so one way of defining liberation is to get rid of the five airs, and bondage means to be under the subjugation of the five airs. So that is also a way we can understand liberation and bondage. Next, the Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the five kinds of air, encircling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures. not for any material profit, but for liberation of the minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So here, through the process of Ashtanga Yoga, uh, it has been advised to control these uh, five airs, or get our soul rid of this uh, uh, cage of five airs. So the soul has been engaged by these five airs, and through different postures, we have to liberate the soul by the bondage of these five airs. So again, we see that soul's individuality has been proved again and again. Next, so the constitution of the atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic literatures, and it is also actually felt in the practical experience of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of this atomic soul as all pervading Vishnu Tattva. So only an insane person or a mad person can actually conclude that an individual soul pervades everywhere, or is like Vishnu and is just everywhere somehow. So, but that is not a fact. We are not everywhere. Uh, Even Shruti statements do not agree to it. And, and even the process is like Ashtanga Yoga. So they also clearly give us the hint that um, consciousness is limited to individual bodies, and it cannot be universal. We have to uh, liberate individual consciousness. Otherwise, if we accept, even if we accept that, for the sake of argument, that uh, consciousness is universal, then if one liberate one individual consciousness, then automatically we should get the experience of universal consciousness. The other individuals, they should also get liberated. They should also get the feeling that now they are liberated. But somehow that doesn't work. And who stops that? Stop them from not experiencing this universal consciousness. So that's another question. So anyway, it's an insane idea to conclude that everything is just one. We don't see it practically. Even Shrutis do not agree to it. Next, the influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to the Munda Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity, and because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. Just because due to our inability, we cannot measure the size of soul. If we conclude that there is nothing called soul, then that's our foolishness. So we should recognize our inability. At least we should recognize that the feeling of uh, I-ness is everywhere. Everywhere in the sense, all individuals can clearly feel that they are individuals. So uh, we cannot simply ignore this practical experience. So at least we accept that that the sense of individuality is felt by others, by all living beings, and this sense of individuality does not exist in a dead body. So that should be a hint to understand that uh, soul, uh, or the presence of the soul distinguishes a living body and a dead body. And by further research, we have to uh, somehow create some instruments that can also feel the presence of soul. They can also uh, uh, can identify where soul goes or how soul works. So that should be a subject of further research. But instead of that, if we simply conclude that there is no soul, then logically also it does not make any sense, because all practical experience uh, go against it. Next, the individual atomic soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles, which carry the oxygen from the lungs, gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body. So, Srila Prabhupada explains uh, reasoning of how soul and body uh, work in synchronization. So, it serves as a hint uh, to understand how actually soul guides the body. So, soul is the source of uh, whole energy of the body, and soul is situated in the heart, in the heart region, and through the medium of heart, or through the medium of different material ingredients as mentioned here, uh, soul uh, keeps this body alive. So we may come to one particular conclusion that somehow the heart is the source of all energy, and uh, somehow that we are not able to reach to the point where we can also recognize or understand how heart also has its source, and that is soul. So uh, there are many things which are not able to perceive at the moment, and by the uh, many research in science, we hope to get some insights in this particular direction as well. However, we should be uh, at least uh, humble enough to uh, accept that there could be uh, a source of the heart energy. Otherwise, arguably, if we keep any heart or live or dead, anything, then then also we can't simply bring energy to any body, any material body. So it's not that simply by having some organ or transplanting some organs we can create life. So when consciousness is there or soul is there within the body, then we may have some exchange of different limbs. However, uh, to prove that just by having heart we can bring someone's life back, so that experiment has to happen. And I'm sure, because scientists must have experimented on such things, but we don't see that just by having some organs replaced by other organs in a dead body we can create life. That simply does not exist. So uh, there are many ways we can see that the science of soul is completely different from what medical science, modern medical science, uh, sees it. So Medical science believes in experiments. It believes in uh, uh, reasoning, and it also believes in experiencing. So, uh, given these conditions, how material science works, it should also give some scope for further research into understanding or recognizing the existence of soul within the body. And there are some people who are experimenting on this, and uh, and it's also important to understand the science of soul, because unless we accept that there is soul which is completely different from the material body, our whole outlook towards life gets changed. Because uh, generally, and speaking generally those who do not believe in soul are more materialistic, and they try to see life as something just just a matter of enjoyment, and they don't really distinguish between right and wrong. So they may have some idea of morality, but that again, it's not a wholesome idea of morality. Uh, they leave it up to individuals to decide what is moral and what is immoral, and there are so many such implications. So that is why it is very important to understand. It's a very fundamental point of spiritual life, that there is spirit which is completely different from our material body. Just by having some material ingredients, or just uh, getting some organs or transplant in from someone's body, we cannot create life. So uh, and because just by anything material we cannot create life, so we have to search for the source of that soul. So the spirituality is the way to understand the source of that soul, how that soul exists, how that soul functions. And once we understand how soul functions, then we can really begin to think how to benefit ourselves, how to benefit the society. Because we are all spirit souls. It's a question of our identity. Unless you understand who we are, there is no question of benefiting anyone else. So that's a common sense. And we clearly see that due to negligence in understanding soul, there is chaos everywhere in the world. People are becoming more and more materialistic, or I mean, less than animals. So that should give us some inspiration to understand the science of soul. Next, such atomic particles of the spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha, or superior energy. So, whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul in the body, and the science of the soul is explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita by the personality of Godhead himself. So, according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Vedic literature, these individuals also have a common source. We cannot call it as a origin, but or in one sense, we can call that all individual souls also have some origin, and that is Lord Shri Krishna, or the supreme soul or super soul of everything. But here, when we call it something as someone's origin, it does not mean that something came out of something and now uh, came into existence, and before that there was no existence. So that kind of idea does not exist. When we call Lord Shri Krishna is the origin of all living, all individual souls. He is the origin of everything in a sense that everything is subordinate to him or everything rests on him. So, because soul, the nature of soul is eternal. We are all eternal. As super soul or supreme Lord Shri Krishna is eternal. We are also eternal. So there is nothing like something is coming out of something. But just to understand how super soul and individual souls are related to each other, we call that individual souls have one common origin, and that is Lord Shri Krishna. Because that is the origin, that is the shelter, that is the source, uh, that's the controller of all individual souls. So I would end here. Uh, if there is any question, we can take. Just bro. Okay, we will stop here. There are no questions. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता यज्ञ की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।